I watched the final signature dry on the divorce papers with a detached calm. The courtroom had been sterile, formal, devoid of the theatrics I had once imagined. There were no shouts, no tears, no triumphant glares. Just the quiet, inevitable finality of legal closure. My ex-husband Mark had already begun the rehearsed posture of relief, shoulders back, chest puffed, eyes shining with anticipation of his next indulgence. But I had already moved ahead. While he thought the divorce meant liberation, I was taking control. Every account, every asset in joint holdings, every discretionary transfer I could legally access frozen. $200 million, now locked, unreachable. The act was swift, precise, unceremonious. There was no satisfaction in a shout, no glee in watching him flounder. Only the cold acknowledgement that control had shifted. As the freeze confirmations pinged into my inbox, I felt an odd mixture of vindication and emptiness. Years of betrayal, of whispered lies, of the unacknowledged heartbreak of infidelity, had led to this quiet assertion of authority. Yet paradoxically, there was no rush of joy. Revenge had its efficacy, but it did not heal. It was a procedure, executed with calm expertise. I remembered the months, even years of his deception. The evenings he claimed to work late while seeing her. The weekend trips he'd misrepresented. The casual arrogance in which he assumed I would remain naive, compliant, and impotent to intervene. Those memories flared briefly, factual and precise, then dissolved into the rhythm of my controlled actions. I did not dwell in them, I catalogued them. Meanwhile, Mark's plans continued, unaware of the invisible barrier I had erected. He had taken her, his mistress, to view a luxury apartment downtown. The anticipation on his face was almost tangible through the phone call I intercepted. A mixture of excitement and entitlement. He imagined grandeur, indulgence, and the ease of spending without consequence. He did not imagine the quiet authority silently waiting behind the screen, behind the legal instruments, behind the procedural calm that had just stripped him of access. The moment of revelation arrived with subtle theatricality. The real estate agent asked him to authorize the final transfer. He reached for his phone to approve it. Then the screen flashed zero balance. The reaction was immediate and visceral. His face paled, his hand shook. He stared at the numbers as if they might rearrange themselves. A child hoping the impossible could become true. The mistress, equally stunned, looked between him and the agent, uncertainty and alarm crossing her expression. For the first time in years, he was powerless, his assumed freedom and entitlement vanished in an instant. I did not call. I did not gloat, I observed. From a quiet distance, I processed the ripple of shock, the weight of consequence landing squarely on him. His entitlement had been dismantled not with spectacle or malice, but through precise, controlled intervention. The authority was tangible, external, and undeniable, and yet, as I watched him flounder, a hollow feeling crept in. Satisfaction was tempered by reality. The loss of $200 million could not undo the years of betrayal, the sleepless nights, or the quiet heartbreak of emotional deception. My victory was concrete, visible, complete, but emotionally nuanced. I had asserted control, but I had not healed wounds that had prompted it. Afterward, in the calm of my apartment, I allowed myself a brief reflection. The power I wielded was absolute in that moment, yet I felt a strange ambivalence. There was pride in competence, certainly, and a quiet relief in seeing him confronted by consequence. But the act itself left no warmth, no euphoria. Only the knowledge that authority, when exercised professionally and legally, carried its own weight. Neither light nor celebratory. The mistress eventually left the scene, confusion and anger in tow. Mark remained, counting his losses, his carefully constructed plans reduced to zero. The ripple effects would continue: financial recalibration, logistical chaos, and likely a slow, reluctant reckoning. All of it observable from my distance, yet none of it mine to interfere with further. In the end, the moment closed as quietly as it had opened. The accounts remained frozen. The legal boundaries held firm. My role was complete, procedural, and resolute. I had demonstrated authority without spectacle, executed revenge without theatrics, and ensured that control rested unequivocally on my side. Yet, sitting alone, reflecting on the chain of events, I acknowledged the complexity of the situation. Power could be asserted, vengeance could be measured and effective, but the hollow spaces of emotional impact remained. Relief, satisfaction, and melancholy intertwined, a quiet, professional victory with subtle ambiguity. The recognition that mastery of circumstance does not always equate to mastery of emotion, and so I let the moment rest. Authority had intervened visibly. Control had shifted. Consequence was undeniable. Yet the echo of betrayal lingered, tempered by reflection, a reminder that even in victory, life retained its nuanced, unresolved weight.